Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. It's your host Akshat, and today's episode is going to be an exciting deep dive into the world of prompt engineering, Gen AI, and LLMs. We have got a fantastic guest lined up for you today. We have Dipankar from Google with us. Let's get started and hear from Dipankar himself. So, Dipankar, let's start with your professional journey and what got you into AI.
Hey, hi Akshat. Thank you for having me here. So yeah, talking about my professional journey, I was initially as a working as a data engineer. So I was actually working with all the ETL tools on different sets of data. And once I got to know how you can actually get some meaningful insights out of data, okay.
Okay.
Now, the next step was naturally coming to me that, okay, I have to go on onto an AI journey. Like, what is the future going on? Like,
Yeah.
what now that we have the data available with us, what are you going to do with that data, right? And once all the filtration and everything is done on top of the data, now what is the insight? Like, what is the future roadmap for that particular data, so that some business outcome can be achieved? So that was something which actually motivated me to move towards AI, and that's how I actually started exploring few of the areas. And then eventually I got an opportunity here within Google itself on how to work. There was an opening on the AI platform, and then that's how I got it on board.
Okay, that's great to hear. So, Deepanga, moving on, can you tell us about any field or use cases where AI or LLM projects can be used? Are you currently involved in any of those projects?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, my role actually involves me working with multiple customers
Okay.
and streamlining their AI journey on how they are actually trying to achieve their business outcome out of AI. So, yeah, I mean, basically, there are actually many. So, what you cannot do with AI, that is actually the main question. So, basically, in today's world, if you think about it, right? Like from retail industry to finance to any of the domain, right? Everywhere AI is involved. At a time, a person is actually interacting with probably, I'll say, thousands of times with an AI onto his or her daily life. So that is something really fascinating on that how the growth and how in depth we are actually going on with this like uh, with this AI thing. So it's all over the world. It's over all the technologies. It's over all the domains. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it is something which is there in each and every platform that you can go through.
Okay. Great. Yeah, as you mentioned, like it is, you can use it in various domains as well. So my next question would be like, like for different domains, like what kind of skill sets an AI team should have in today's scenario to build a great AI product?
Okay. First and foremost thing that to build a great AI product, okay, is something that a team should have diverse set of people. Basically, what happens is you should not be centric towards one particular domain. So basically, what I'm talking about is, let's say if there was an AI tool which is actually there to inspect someone's let's say someone's it's an AI tool to inspect the eye checkup or something like that, and you can actually go ahead and check what is the best spectacle frame, what is the uh, what should be the best focal length, and what should be the kind of spectacle that a person should be wearing. Okay,
Okay.
now, for that, the first and foremost thing is people with different sets of having diverse facial recognition, having diverse facial features, and all those things. I mean, that is something which an AI bot should have. Okay, so that is something which should be first taken into consideration whenever we are building a team. Okay, we should have a diverse set of people in that particular team, so that you are not just segmenting it towards a particular geography or towards a particular region. You're segmenting it towards the whole world. and that's how actually a problem is solved. So I'll say, yeah, I mean, that is the most foremost thing. Now, but yeah, I mean, talking about technology, I'll say that like people who are actually enthusiastic towards the data side of it. Like, let's say if we have a particular set of data, right? Now, what can you do with that particular set of data? So more and more ideas as they pour in, more and more tools and more features they come out. So I think these two are the main things. Firstly, I think it should be a diverse team, and secondly, everyone should be enthusiastic on what they can achieve with the certain set of data that they have available with them.
Okay. And like you mentioned about your background in data engineering or data preparation. So how the data pipeline or the ETL have varied from traditional AI ML setup to today's LLM setup?
Yeah. So talking about that, like, see, traditionally, if you go back like 6 to 7 years down the line, right?
Okay.
Uh, the only thing that ETL platforms were doing was copying and pasting, but it was a selective copy paste. Okay,
Okay.
so a selective set of data is actually picked up from one platform, and then like based on the filtration criteria and everything, it is actually pasted onto a different platform. Okay, that was how it was working like traditionally. Then new as and when we progressed, new and new tools came in, and that's how the whole lambda model, the kappa model, the batch processing, and all those things actually came into picture. Right now, with time we actually started progressing, and then now there was a demand for automation altogether. So if you just go 5 years back, right, we all were actually talking about automation, like how we can actually have an automated pipeline going from here, like data capturing from one particular platform, then based on series of filtration and alteration that the data goes through, and then finally data coming up as a business intelligence unit onto a different platform. Okay, so that was the thing which was actually going on. Uh, but yeah, I mean, now what happens is like now the current set of data that we have, okay, how you can actually predict or model the future with that current set of data. That is
Yeah.
something which is going on nowadays, and that's
Yeah.
where AI actually comes in handy. Okay, so how with that particular set of data, how we can make things more simpler, how we can actually like towards the future, how we can actually see like what valuable information we can do, or what valuable things we can do with that particular set of data. So that's how actually things are moving forward. But yeah, I mean, going forward, like let's say 2 years or 3 years down the line, the things might change. So that's how it is. Like it's an ever evolving world.
Okay. And if we deep down a further bit on this topic, like what are the various challenges one can expect while building the data pipeline for fine tuning a LLM? Uh, like for the first time, like what are the challenges one can expect?
Okay. So first and foremost, I will say is that like while building a data pipeline, right?
Yeah.
We have to first come to a conclusion whether you are actually coming for a batch pipeline, or is it like something of a streaming pipeline? So
Mm-hmm.
what I essentially mean to say is that like, is it something which is time intensive, or is it like not time intensive? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you actually, let's say, let's just take one example. Let's say you want to actually back up something, right? Now that I can pretty much say that like, okay, even if it takes an hour, or if it takes 2 hours, or if let's say it takes an entire day to just back up some data, okay, there's no harm in that. Okay? But second thing is like, let's say if I was dealing with some of the data set which is working on to, let's say, share market, right? Now that is pretty time intensive. So we have to be very careful, because a set of data which is actually delivering insight, it might change within each minute. So that is something which someone should first take into consideration whenever they are building a data pipeline. Okay? Now, once you have actually come to a conclusion whether you want something which is batch, or whether you want something which is synchronous, then comes up like whether you want to do the processing after load or whether you want to do the processing before loading itself. Now that depends on the amount of data and what is the technique that you're using. So it's the traditional ELT versus ETL thing that we want to do. Okay. So yeah, I think once these things are actually finalized, probably yeah, after that, like people can actually move forward with the data filtration technique and whatever manipulation they want to do on top of the data.
Okay, that's great to hear. So moving forward from fine tuning to prompt engineering now.
Yeah.
So can you give example or like your first hand experience on the prompt engineering?
Okay, yeah. So this was actually going on for a pretty long time. Like we were actually on a project where we were actually trying to, streamline a job synthesis process, where
Mm-hmm.
similar to LinkedIn, where some of the candidates will have their own profile. Now we'll just go ahead and then scan those profiles, and then based on those profiles, we have to actually map it to the appropriate job criteria. Okay, whichever job is actually open on the portal. Now basically, like initially, like without prompt engineering or anything, we were actually seeing that like multiple jobs used to end up with multiple criterias, and then it used to go to a wrong queue most of the
Yeah.
time, because what was happening is, let's say if there's a new technology in town. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now that technology is not there, like for our LLM models to load. Our LLM model is not aware of the technology. But so what it used to do was it was actually auto correcting itself and then mapping it to a different set of skill altogether. So that was a huge mess up which was actually going on. Uh, like later on, what we did was that, like, I think there were some prompts which are set up, okay,
Okay.
just to let the model know, like, see, this is the criteria, and in case if you are having a new word, okay, first go ahead and check whether you want to map it to a particular skill set or not.
Yeah.
In case not mapped to a particular skill set, only then do like rest of the things. But yeah, I mean, don't make the judgment call by yourself. So that is something which we actually help with, like we resolved with the help of few prompts here and there, and then again, like it was kind of a industry set where we were actually trying to make the model understand that its only job is to just go ahead and check in the job market whether a particular skill set is available or not. Right. So that is something which we had to train the model on. Okay. And
Okay.
I think once things were set up, yeah, I mean, this is running up pretty smooth after that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So now, moving on, if you have to run prompt on a lot of inputs, and so is there any framework to, evaluate the outputs, or you rely on manual feedbacks?
No, I think there are actually many frameworks which are now available. So basically, you can just go ahead with a set of prompts. You can see how a particular model is behaving. Okay, and with
Yeah,
that, like, because evaluating manually is again like will go down the traditional route. Then now, since we have something like large language models already available with us, right? So basically, like what we used to do also is that like we'll actually have an in-house model designed just to verify the output, whether this is the desired output or not. And based on that, like we can actually go ahead and then verify whether whether the prompt is actually serving its purpose or if there is some alteration which is required. But yeah, I mean, with prompts, I think majority of the challenges can be taken away.
okay. So, moving towards for our audience,
Mhm.
do you suggest any tools or course for the audience to enhance their skills in this area?
Yeah, I mean, if someone is actually trying to get onboarded onto the AI journey, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what I'll suggest is that like start learning like how data works. That is, I think, like one thing. I don't want to suggest any particular course per se or a book, but what I'll say is that like I think there are many tutorials available on YouTube itself. Don't go for any paid courses. That's what I actually suggest to all the students and anyone who is actually trying to make a move towards AI. First, there are actually plethora of information available on YouTube. You don't have to go for any of the other courses or anything. Okay, you can directly go to YouTube, just search for it, and then you can start working on AI tools. And you can first you get to know the technology, and once you have a basic understanding on the technology, how it works, how let's say how LLMs work, what is actually a prompt engineer, what
Mm-hmm.
what goes behind the scene when a large language model is working, and let's say what is going on with the LangChain model. There are different models already available in the market. Okay,
Okay.
so you can actually go ahead and check all those things, like how it is actually serving a particular business or how it is catering to a particular problem. Okay. Once you have a basic understanding on how the AI is like AI works and how it is actually incorporated into different tools, then for an in-depth thing, we can for different courses based on the criteria. But what I'll suggest is first get an understanding on what AI does.
Okay. So I think I have covered almost all the questions. Do you have any parting thoughts for our audience?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a ever-changing world out there.
Yeah.
So AI is everywhere as of now. Okay. But when I say like getting onboarded to AI, okay, don't just get onboarded just because you have like you feel that it's a buzzword going on in the market. If you're actually enthusiastic towards the data and if you're enthusiastic towards solving a particular problem, okay, I'll say that like then you can actually go ahead and explore this beautiful world of AI. It's actually, I mean, we can actually see how the future is actually shaping with all these new innovations which are coming up.
Okay. Great. So with that, that's all for today, folks. Hope you loved listening to Dipankar and had great insights from this episode. Please leave your questions in the comments, and we will reach out to Dipankar to answer those for you. Thanks for listening.